we're back. Welcome back to the Nick Hall Comedy Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Hall, joined as always by
Josh Griffey.
We got, it's the Conspiracy Pod.
Conspiracies!
Yeah.
If only I was a musician, I would have come in with a little fucking face melter. Dun, 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 dun.
Wayne's World!
Like Wayne's World, but like darker.
But cool.
Yeah, what if Wayne's World was
fucking-
really a portal to another dimension, bro? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm
That's what
into
we're
it.
working
Hey, welcome back to the pod. Make sure you go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow us on social media. Everything is at Coach Kent Murphy. None of that fake shit. Stop it with that. CoachKentMurphy.com if you want to get some sweet merchandise
Danger.
like that. And yeah, the housekeeping is out of the way. We got some pretty fun conspiracies to dive into. I'd feel remiss if we didn't at least talk about the titties at the All-Star at the World Series game.
By the way, this is something I have to say. When I saw the titties at the Astros Nationals game, what a series, by the way.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a conspiracy that you got sick right as this amazing World Series was unfolding.
Could be.
I am actually fucking furious that in the age of like Instagram and social media celebrities, why are there not tits and dicks at every game?
I wish.
The fact that I watch a game and I don't see that every single game.
They were good titties too, and it was
bad.
it wasn't wasn't a couple of slouches. These were some prime boobs. Yeah. So it was an Instagram model, and I was reading, and they said they did it to raise awareness for breast cancer. They were fully aware that they were going to get banned. They knew all this. It was a stunt.
Yeah. I would say she failed because I did not know that.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't see the boobs. I was like, you know what? I'm going to tell the women I know to go get checked. Yeah. I was just like, no, those are sweet tits.
I'm going to call my wife over today and be like, come on, let's do a test.
They're masking it under the guise of it was for breast cancer awareness, but really it was to boost their social numbers.
Yeah. No,
and
it was
for
worked. Their Instagram awareness.
And it worked.
Well, it was one of those, as soon as I saw the boobs, right, I saw the clip pop up on Twitter, and they were attractive ladies. I was like, 1,000,000% sure these ladies make money on Instagram. Like that's just going to be a baked in part of the story. Where do you fall on using charity as a guise for your own money making activities?
Fun for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. You gotta make
it's like there was a Super Bowl ad a few years ago, and it was Chevy, and they did like a whole thing about it. They didn't show the truck once. It was just about like cancer,
right?
And like people dying of cancer, and all of a sudden at the end they're like, buy Chevy.
And
I was like, Jesus Christ, like no shame at all. And you paid like $30 million for that spot.
The first draft of the script was, and what better way to haul that casket to the cemetery than a Chevy?
I was like, God damn, American made, baby.
Yeah, no, I remember because this happened. There was a soccer match, I believe, where this hot for like a porn lady, right? She had that very porn look, right?
Yeah.
Little Jessica Rabbity in real life, where you're like, good as a cartoon in a movie. Real life, like, wow, there's a lot going on. But she ran across the thing, and it was to raise awareness for her Pornhub crossover or something.
For sure.
And I was like, that's fine. I'm all for people making money. Yeah. What I hate is that, why not just come out and be like, yeah, I'm attractive, and we live in a time, right? This is the best time in the universe.
Hey, I need more followers.
Yeah.
You know?
Because this is the debate I've had at bars, right? And this is going to make me sound not super nice. But I had this guy, he was like, my girlfriend is the hottest girl. You never have had sex with a girl hotter than my girlfriend. And I'm like, well, that's your opinion, man. That's fine. And he's like, no, like, my girlfriend is a 9. And I said, okay, what's her Instagram handle? And he's like, what? And he pulled it up, and she had like 300 followers. And I'm like, your girlfriend's not a 9. Like, your girlfriend's not even an 8. Yeah. Like, for a fact, if you are an 8 or higher in today's society,
you got followers.
Monetize that.
Yeah, you got followers.
If you are an 8, right? Because this is like, I remember I had this big theory. Me and my buddy went back and forth on this for a long time. And his theory was, if you've never seen a 10 because they're in castles and private islands, right?
Correct.
Like, they're off the market, right? Like, billionaires have them. But yeah, if you are an 8 or higher, you're making money because you're so good looking, right?
Yeah.
Or you have such physical attribute. Especially in today's world, you don't have to go through like the Harvey Weinsteins, you literally just take a selfie.
Yeah.
Right? There are girls who just make money doing porn
All
without
day.
any dudes or partners.
All
it's
day.
just them in their apartment.
Oh, yeah. It's
So,
great.
yeah, my buddy was just, she's a stone cold 10. It's like, well, it's cool that we all lie to ourselves. We all have our lies. But that's just not a fact. But I don't like the hiding behind charity.
Based on followers,
Yeah.
Kent's like a 7.
I mean, we make money off of
We're trying to get him
faces.
to an 8. Yeah, a little
Do
bit more.
these look like the faces of 8s, bro?
A little bit more surgery. A little bit more surgery.
On YouTube, I would say 7s.
Yeah.
Entry level. Like, we're good enough to look at the people don't run.
Yeah.
That's the entry level.
Exactly.
Now, once we start, like, once this bodybuilding.com thing comes through, then we're 8.
I'll tell you, I got a conspiracy. I had a McRib on the way here. That's not.
I didn't think they did McRibs
Yeah,
anymore.
they're back. They're back. not a single shred of rib meat in that thing. It's a conspiracy, but goddamn, they're delicious.
No. Well, that's like, do you ever see because this happens to me once a year where, like, somehow in my timeline, right? Because I have this weird mix of, like, people I grew up with in Indiana who post a lot of hunting and things they're cooking pictures.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then people I knew in California and LA that post a lot of don't eat any food because it's harmful to things pictures. And every year, like, the two conflate in the pink slime video, where it's like, McNuggets are pink slime, and I'm like,
I'm a goo man.
yeah, I'm a goo man. I immediately regret it. I'm like, I should never eat a nugget again. And then it takes like 2 days, and you're like, you know what? No, I really just want. I've been thinking about nuggets
I'm
for
gonna
48
get some nugs.
hours. Yeah. But I'm all for. It's like when I watch that like horror sci-fi movie Soylent Green, and at the end they're like, it's people. Who fucking cares? Like, I would eat a person.
But did you see that video? That guy, I think it was in like New York or New Jersey or something. He was hunting, and
hunting in New York?
Yeah.
Oh, like upstate.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like hunting in the city.
He was
like
hunting.
Predator.
He was hunting, and he was like in his truck afterwards, and this dad and his son came up, and they were like, "You're killing animals. You fucking," and the kid was like, "You fucking asshole," and the dad was like, "Yeah, you're fucking scum. Oh, you feel like a big man because you shot a deer," and he was like, "I'm getting it for food." He's like, "I'm not out here just shooting." He's like, "Do you eat meat?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Where do you think that came from?"
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I love that video.
Just roasted.
See, I'm all for, like, if we made it illegal for, like, these fat, tiny dick, rich white guys to go, like, shoot a lion from 10 feet away with, like, a bazooka.
I'm fine with
Yeah,
that.
I'm all for that. We don't need that. Like, the lady who's like, look, I hunted this giant wild beast. I'm like, did you?
Yeah.
Like, did you really get down to, like, your primal, like, you're smothering yourself in mud and stabbing it to death?
You're chasing a giraffe in a Jeep with
Yeah,
a fucking,
right. Well, no, I even saw one where, like, they rolled these people up. These elephants were fucking asleep.
Yeah.
And they just rolled this guy up, and he had a tripod, and they put a gun on it, and just fucking splattered this elephant. And he's
Jesus.
like, oh, the thrill of the hunt. And I was like, the thrill of the hunt? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's hard out here in the streets.
Yeah, like, oh, these
in the Sahara.
So yeah, I'm all for not doing that, but like, yeah, like if you're gonna hunt and kill things,
Yeah.
that's cool. As long as you're eating it.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
And honestly,
Whatever.
I don't even care.
My grandpa was a hunter. He made jerky and shit. It was great.
Yeah. Hey, have you guys ever ran around your house and killed spiders and flies? Like, that's hunting, dude.
Yeah.
You're hunters.
Yeah, and
You didn't eat that?
Fuck bugs.
Yeah.
I hunt those fuckers for sport.
That's true. All right, conspiracies.
Here we go.
Now that we're on. All right, how are we going to do this? You just doing your favorite ones you've read recently?
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it.
We kind of went down a rabbit hole, and we're like, let's just do like a broad net of like favorite fun ones.
Yeah.
And then I think what
And
we'll
you
do
guys
moving
can
forward is we'll go more in depth on a specific one.
pick a specific one and go into it. But for now, we're gonna lob some shit up for you guys for some light reading, some fun light reading. My favorite one. This has been one of my favorite ones for a long time. But Stevie Wonder is not blind. He's not. I've actually done some research on this in the past.
All right.
But
Now, you're hitting... First response to me is, that's crazy.
Well,
Secondly, I'm the guy that thinks Helen Keller's a fraud, so you're playing right into my wheelhouse right
but
now.
he sits front row at Lakers games. Why?
Okay.
Why? I like the sound of the sneakers squeaking on the floor. No,
Maybe.
he's watching the game.
What if he... Oh, wait. Okay. As a guy...
There is a smoking gun on this one.
As
though.
a guy who's a Laker fan, right? A lot of people at those games are like those chicks with their tits out. They're there for the picture and to talk. They're not there to watch the
What
Laker
does he care
product.
if he's in a picture? He can't ever see it, or can he?
No, because his
he
managers
takes
are
photos.
probably... This
He's
is
a
one of my
photographer.
favorite. There's an actual YouTube video I love of people who like Stevie Wonder's aides not turning him the right direction. So he'll be at like an award show, like looking the wrong way when everyone's clapping at the stage.
He's just looking at the crowd. Yeah. Well, there's a smoking gun in this. And you can find the video. The video is it's on YouTube.
Okay.
But there's a video, and he's playing a show, some benefit or something, and it's him and Paul McCartney and a couple other guys, and Paul McCartney walks past him.
You mean the new Paul McCartney? Because that's he's also been replaced.
Yeah, his doppelganger that they were. But Paul McCartney knocks over a mic stand, and Stevie Wonder just goes whoop and catches it. Just it's
and this
there.
is in a crowded, noisy
And I got
venue.
turned on to this whole thing because Bonnet Jones went off about it one day on one of the shows, and if you look it up,
Bonnet Jones,
yeah,
the
Bonnet
Stevie
Jones,
Wonder truther.
Oh yeah, he's got videos on YouTube of him just talking about Stevie Wonder not being blind. And it's like that's where I did my research. I started with Bonnet and just followed his fucking line through this. Stevie Wonder is not blind.
Okay. This is how I look at all conspiracies, right? First off, I love them all because it's creative writing.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of creative writing. My second question I always ask, I guess the first question, why? Like, where's the money, right? I think it's all money.
Sell more records, more
Do you think that,
sympathy.
So you think the blindness is a way to separate him out?
When he was first coming up, he was probably struggling.
He's
then
like,
he was like,
I gotta
wait
get
a
some
minute.
of that Ray Charles money.
If I'm blind, then people will feel, and I'll get more stage time. And they're like, holy shit, look what this blind guy can do. And he's great. I love Stevie Wonder.
So you think when he was like doing that,
But then he got
crossover-
too far into it, and he's like, I can't turn back now. I can't be like, oh shit, now I can see. Once he had a gold record, you know what I mean? Like,
like, Stevie, why are you wincing at all the gold? That's why he picked Red Hot Chili Peppers, because he could actually see the cock socks. He's like, I want to cross over with them. That sounds like a musical fit. It's interesting.
It's true.
That's a good one. I'm gonna have to dig in on that one.
Yeah, I would recommend looking up those videos.
Here's the question I have with that though. At the late stage in the game, wouldn't that be the thing now to come out and be like, dude, I got LASIK. It's amazing. Like, why not live your last, like, 10 years? You know what I mean? They shot a fucking laser. It bounced off my orbital bone, and now I can see. You know what I mean? Just dive in.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what Stevie could do now, right? Because
yeah.
Stevie's only now, he's in the rear view, right? Like, no one's really like, oh, new Stevie coming out. What I would do is be like, you know what? I went to this mega church, right? Like, who's that criminal pastor? Joel Osteen?
Oh, yeah.
Just, like, looks like a guy who would rob you of money.
Probably a lizard person.
And he's like, yeah, I've got, like, fucking 5 private jets, but, you know, I'm doing the Lord's work. I'm the Kanye West of preaching, right? So that guy, go to him and be like, hey, man, there's a lucrative opportunity here, right? You sell nonsense. I've been selling nonsense for years. We're colleagues. And then be like, hey, I'm going to pretend to trip and fall on your stage. Pick me up by the dreads, and I'll be like, I can see.
I'm healed.
Yeah, I'm healed. And then fucking rack in that Jesus money. He can just write a whole album about how, like, hey, 2019 doesn't look how I thought it would. You know what I mean? Just write that album.
Well, speaking of, there's a video I watched one time, and it's like 5 old white men, but they're all like those mega rich pastors or whatever. But they were addressing, because people were calling them out for flying these private jets and shit all the time, and they were having a dead serious conversation. Not really a conspiracy. I guess maybe it is because the church, but that could,
it's the worst conspiracy.
It's a money-making conspiracy.
Because there's no hiding it.
But they're just like sitting around this round table talking about it, and he's like, yeah, that is a good question. But, you know, I spoke to the Lord, and he doesn't want us flying commercial because we have to get to where we're going quicker so that we can talk to the people. And and it was like, and they're just do it. They just go for it. I was just like, the balls on these guys. Yeah. Fucking balls.
Well,
dude.
I like the notion that Jesus, who's like, hey, I better go down to the brothel and help lepers. He's like, but just don't talk to me.
But they have the ultimate excuse all the time because, like, anything they can be like, well, you're right. That's a good point. But I spoke to Jesus. Yeah. Because I can communicate with him.
Right.
You know?
Well, I respect their hustle because as a parent, you do
can't
that.
argue it if you believe it because you're like, he probably did talk to, I guess he did. You know, like, the rest of us are like, no, he didn't.
Yeah, we're like, no.
But the believers are like, yeah, well.
It's the weird thing that our entire society and economic
people
system,
give these guys money. Lots of it.
Like a fuckload.
Yeah.
But, like, that's the entire American dream, right? Is you coming up with an idea that lets you steal money from the dumbest of us. And the rest of us just say, well, that's wrong. Yeah. You shouldn't do that, church guys. But also, I hope to rob them of their money as well someday. Yeah. So we all just let it happen.
Yeah, I mean,
in a way, it is a conspiracy. It's the great unknown.
Hey, listen, I went to church. I went to church like every week growing up. My parents made me, And in those 18 years, not once did I see one roofer on the top of that church.
Right?
Fixing that roof that they're asking for that money so desperately for. Never saw one roofer at that fucking church. But every week, they needed a new roof.
Yeah, where's the plumber?
Yeah.
Where's the plumber?
Yeah.
No.
Every week.
I mean, that's true. I hate religion in general. But also, I'm like, don't just be mean to religion. Like,
well, true. Yeah, yeah.
Religion is equally as bad and opportunistic as Weight Watchers.
Sure, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Drink this
like,
shake.
where are all the like?
Hey,
ripped,
fatty, drink some shakes.
Where are all the ripped people? Like, they come out like they see the sun for the first time in 3 months. Like, it worked.
Yeah,
like, it never happens. You're just gonna go back. We all know it.
Absolutely.
So that's. I mean, yeah. Robbing the dumb is the conspiracy of the open.
Well, sure.
That's capitalism.
Yeah.
I don't hate their hustle. I hate the. I just wouldn't even lie about it.
No.
Right. That's another.
They don't have to. I don't think.
No.
They could just be like, "Listen,
no,
you're stupid, and give me some money."
Prosperity,
yeah, and like all of our grandmas would be like, "Okay."
I mean, to be fair, that's like our entire economic argument, right? Is like, should we have less tax? If the rich people have more money, they're gonna trickle that down to us. You're like, yeah, that's how money works.
Yeah.
Like when I was in college, my richest friend,
the old trickle down.
If I gave my friend all of my money, who was already the richest, he would keep buying my drinks for me.
Yeah.
Everyone knows
it's a great idea.
All right, my favorite conspiracy I read this week actually involves two things I love. I'm super into true crime.
Same.
And conspiracy theory. I found one. This guy made this really long, inane/insane video about how Bonnet Ramsey never died. She actually grew up to become Katy Perry.
I love it. Yeah.
But
sold. I believe
the video
it
is hilarious too because it is. I was watching it on YouTube before we started, and he just like does that face morph thing, where it's just like, like I saw this on Twitter. They have a thing on Twitter. I guess it's like a big social media thing this week. Like, which celebrity do I look like?
Yeah.
And it's your picture, two transitional pictures, and then the celebrity.
Yeah.
And my favorite one was this young Asian girl did it, and it turned her into Scarlett Johansson. She was like, "Oh, come on!" Which is just amazing. But so what he did was he would do here's Jean Bonnet and transition her into Katy Perry. And I'm like, well, you could do that with me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it would just look like my hair was falling out, and then all of a sudden I like had about the same size tits and a dress.
Ooh.
And I'm Katy Perry. So I was like, the evidence is not great. But what I like is that he even doubled down that not only is she Katy Perry, but that Katy Perry's parents, who apparently are pastors, right?
Yeah.
They're like well-known
pastors. She was like a
pastors.
gospel singer for a while.
Yeah. So like, they had a following. That Bonnet's parents co-opted that identity as well. So he was doing the same facial recognition with her parents. And I'm like, they're just white people.
So the Ramseys are the Perrys.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a whole family. The only one they left out is the creepy brother that we all watched in ABC, like, murder expose because we desperately wanted to believe that little creep killed her.
Oh, I love it.
Because he had cereal?
Yeah, something.
He ate, like, cereal with orange juice in it. And, like, as soon as we all heard that and we saw his face, you're like, he looks like Pinocchio after he turned back into a real boy.
Listen, if I saw somebody eating cereal with orange juice in it, my first
he
thought
had some kind of disgusting midnight snack.
But my first thought would be like, that person's going to kill somebody.
Yeah.
That's a fucking psychopath.
No, but I mean,
it's like same people that eat crunchy peanut butter. Like, you're a psychopath.
Oh, I eat crunchy peanut butter.
Jesus
well,
Christ.
I failed the serial killer test.
No, you're a serial killer.
Yeah, I told you the test. You failed it too. I thought you might get it, but I failed the serial killer test. I'm the only one I know who my wife's.
What was it again? I can't remember.
So here's the theory, right? So you tell people this story, and how they react will tell you if they're a serial killer or not, or potential serial killer. And I failed. So these two girls are at a funeral, right? Their mom just died.
Right.
The two sisters come together. They make all the arrangements to set up the funeral, right? So they go to the cemetery. Everything's fine. They have a nice send-off. They go back to the house for the reception, wake, whatever it would be called. They're running around the house, making sure everyone has the food. They're helping everyone out. And the one girl goes back into the kitchen. She needs to refill some of the snacks and whatnot, right? She's happy for the moment alone. Well, while she's back there, she meets this really handsome young guy.
Right.
And they actually kind of hit it off and start talking. It's a moment of sunshine in an otherwise bad day, right? The party continues. She goes back out feeling refreshed. The party continues. Everyone leaves, goes about their business. That night, she murders her sister. Right?
Right.
Why does she murder her sister?
I I remember you asking me this, and I can't remember.
See, because you're not a serial killer.
Yeah, what
right?
the answer is.
Because see, my wife asked me that. I think you said something about like everyone always is like
Yeah,
insurance money
or something like that. Yeah.
I said within less than 2 seconds to my wife, I'm like, oh, she wants to see the guy again. There'll be another funeral and she'll get to see the hot guy
him
again.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, you are a serial killer. Like fucking freaked on my ass.
Yeah, you're a serial killer.
And I was like, well, no, I write horror movies. Like, that's how my brain works. I'm like,
True.
oh, that's a good motive.
True.
But
True. That's a good
but,
motive.
yeah, I was like, that makes perfect sense to me. Like, I think I'm demented, but fun. But this kid, though, because this is the other thing I noted, because I couldn't stop thinking of him as Pinocchio, right? Because we never talk about in that story, he's carved out of wood and then becomes a real boy.
Right.
There's something wrong with him. He's a disgusting, like, golem of humans, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's not really us. He's just wood turned into a boy.
He's
it's
a
gross.
real boy, yeah.
No, it's gross, because he would probably still be hollow on the inside and need to murder us, whatever.
Maybe.
But that's what Jean Bonnet's brother looks like. And I hated when it came out, and it's like, well, he probably didn't kill her. And he's like, I told you. And I'm like, it looks like you have wax lips. Something's wrong. I hate your guts. Because some guy in jail, I guess, there was a guy on death row who, I guess now he's taking credit for it. He was like a pedophile, whatever. I still don't buy it. I think her brother did it because I like it better that way.
her brother for sure did it.
But if he didn't do it.
But he didn't.
But if he
she's
didn't
Katy
do
Perry.
it. Her being Katy Perry is pretty phenomenal.
Well, maybe she saw him eating that cereal and she was like, you know what? I'm leaving the family. And I'm going to go make something of myself with this other family. And she went and joined. She went to the church.
Another family.
She went to the church.
Because she took her
Caught
parents.
on.
They just all agreed, like, let's leave him behind.
Yeah.
And 2 people that will now pretend to be my parents.
They all changed their name to Perry. Mine's still Ramsey.
And you can kind of get it because they made some money off of this, right? They became a little bit of celebrity. The problem is it falls apart with the money argument because they didn't turn that true crime money into her becoming a celebrity.
Right.
And secondly, if there was ever a person who needed to pull the Stevie Wonder miracle routine for their career right now, it's Katy Perry.
True.
If I'm Katy Perry, whether it's true or not, I'm coming out right now and being like,
it's true.
I am John Bonnet Ramsey.
Can you imagine that
fireworks?
Can you imagine that bombshell?
Yeah.
It'd be the biggest story.
Yeah. I mean, when is the last time? The last time I heard about her was when she cut her hair off, I guess.
Yeah.
And even that, I just saw it on Twitter, and I'm like, why do we care so much about haircuts?
And she Me Too'd that guy on American Idol.
Did she?
Yeah, she just went and like kissed that guy, and the guy was like, I didn't want to be kissed. I've never kissed anybody before.
He's like, ew, since you're pretty much a ghost. Super creepy.
Ugh, I don't want that shit rubbing off on me.
Right.
Off me, Katy.
No, I mean, Katy Perry, more than anyone, needs to do the I am John Bonnet Ramsey.
Oh, I'd love it.
Because even if it's just her having a mental breakdown, that's infinite. We're the culture now. We're just creeps as a culture. All we want to watch is suffering.
I would love, like, a day where, like, I wake up and I, flip on the news or whatever, and it's just, like, breaking. And it's like, but it's like Tupac and Paul McCartney and Elvis, like, all standing there, and they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
It was all true.
Yeah, we're like, you know what, you guys kind of suck.
Like, the fake Paul McCartney's like, yeah, the real one died a while ago. And, like, Elvis and Tupac are like, yeah, we were never dead.
Yeah, he's like, I actually brought the old Paul's dental record.
I'd be in front of that TV going, fuck yes!
Fuck yeah, can you imagine?
It'd be the greatest day.
No, because normally it's like, breaking news, Trump said something that makes people mad. And you're like, that's not breaking news. Stop doing that. Like, we get it.
We went in the door.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people, they knock, say, can I come in? This is not how terrorism works. Thanks, Don. Like, no matter what side you're on, that's the leading story every day is some politician says something and now we're mad.
Yeah, somebody did something stupid.
If you could cancel that for a week and say, yeah, Tupac really did just want a vacation. Now he's a slightly overweight, happy Carl Winslow type.
Fat Tupac would be hilarious.
Yeah, he's just like, I mean, I have a son named Edward. I explained to him the racial dynamics of America. We're very happy. I wear polo
Biggie's
shirts.
standing next to him and Biggie's skinny now. That'd be great. That's my dream.
They've switched now. They've switched the Laurel and Hardy persona that they had. Yeah, no, that would be fantastic. I actually read that was another one, is that part of the Elvis being still alive conspiracy theory is that people are convinced he's an extra in the background of Home Alone 2. I don't even think that he was like a paid extra, but
now I'm watching that tonight.
Elvis meandered across the frame. And so if you look hard enough, there is a man who apparently looks exactly like Elvis in Home Alone 2. My retort to that is, have you ever been to Vegas? There's a shitload of white guys that look exactly like Elvis, especially once he becomes Fat Elvis. Like, there's a lot of us.
Well, there was one I read, and it was that somebody spotted Steve Jobs in Egypt in 28 last year. and like, there's a photo of it, and it's shocking. It does look shockingly like Steve
Did he have
Jobs,
the
right?
turtleneck and
Yeah,
shit?
like everything it looked just like him. But then somebody pointed out, like, can't be Steve Jobs. They're like, why? He's like, he's not wearing an Apple Watch. that was like he's like, no way, that's Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs,
he would for sure have an Apple Watch on.
He would never suffer the indignity of non-Apple products, or maybe now he would, just because he's like, I gotta stick it.
He's
to
using
Tim
like
Cook.
a Windows phone.
Yeah,
like I'm not Steve Jobs. I'm using Windows.
Well, we saw that
That's
movie,
a great
right?
cover.
That's like when Rogan and the guys in the movie, they make the one product that's mildly successful,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's not enough a part of it, so he's mad.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he doesn't wear Apple Watch right now.
Ooh, maybe.
He's like, I'm not involved in that. Fuck you. I like that. I saw this week. I was reading a little bit about lizard people.
Oh, I love it. That's
The Justin Bieber being a lizard person is really fun.
Pretty much anybody with power or money is a lizard person. I think, and that's why I'm really hoping to like get some money one day to see if like there's an initiation, and like once you reach a threshold of like fame or money or celebrity or whatever, like somebody comes up to you and is like, hey.
Yeah.
Good job out there. Let's go get you some scales.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yes!
It's like, you guys passed the first test, which is being sevens.
I want to get to that meeting, that fucking eyes wide shut meeting, you know, like,
Oh, yeah.
I want to get there.
Well, that's what I do. I'd get in, and I'd spend like a week or two learning the secrets, and then I'd be like, I'm going live, and you can kill me. Like, I'm telling everybody. Like, this is worth dying for.
Just call a press conference and be like, check this out. And shapeshift. Oh, dude, yeah. Great.
Oh, so you think you get the shape-shifting powers, actually.
Yeah, oh, yeah. I think you get
They inject you with the
the
fucking
aliens.
McNugget.
The aliens come and give you the formula. Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I'm way into the Anunnaki, I think is what they're called.
Those are the ancient alien travelers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot of that in South America. I was researching. Because I'm one of those guys, I still watch Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
Because it's the most brilliant conceit to a show where...
Well, some people think like the Mayans were all a race of aliens.
Well, yeah,
Because of the advancements and
Well, because
shit
what
that
I
they
read is
made.
that, their pyramids were actually... Because they have, like, what look like takeoff spots.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's stupid. Like, ancient aliens aren't going to be on, like, bobsleds and shit. Like, they're going to have, like, vertical ability to move, whatever.
Maybe.
But they have, like, you know,
They might
cave
have been flying
paintings that look like
G6s,
spaceship.
you know what I mean?
That's just their getting to the ground vehicle, right? That's their golf cart, essentially. Now, I mean, I'm down with all that.
I love it.
There is the weird shit, like, when you look up how the fuck are the pyramids so mathematically precise?
Yeah.
And I know people are like, well, math was always there just because you're too dumb to figure it out in 2019.
True.
Doesn't mean they were then. Fine. They can't see things from the air.
Yeah.
And how big are these fucking rocks? And how far apart? Like, it's not like they can run like one of those
and the
tape
source
measures on a wheel.
The source of like the rocks was so far away.
Yeah.
Too, and like without any kind of mobilization besides just people carrying shit and donkeys.
Yeah. Well, it's like
You know what I
Easter
mean?
Island.
Like,
They're
yeah.
like, well,
Yeah,
clearly,
those things are crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
deforested their whole island to roll the stones down there, and I was like, maybe, because that's the theory, is that because they deforested the island to move those
I actually watched
stones
like
down, that's why they went extinct, because they had no food. And
I actually
shit
watched like
anymore.
a mini documentary about Easter Island once, and they recreated it where they tried to with just like simple tool like pulleys and shit like that.
I love those.
And they tried to recreate it, and it like they did it, but it took fucking forever.
Yeah.
I mean forever.
And
for
that's
these
with
people to do it. Just
thousands of
to
years
move one
of advancement.
Yeah, to move one. Yeah.
Well, no, like they have these things. They're really fucking cool. This goes back to like Anunnaki related stuff. They're called the H blocks of. It's not Machu Picchu, I think, but somewhere in that region.
Yeah.
And they're called the H blocks, right? And so essentially, what they are, there's these giant fucking interconnected blocks.
Right.
And again, they had this master stoneworker from nowadays, and they're like, he was out there, and he's like, look at how fucking exact these things are with this little like hammer and chisel and, you know, whatever fucking tools you use. And he was just like, what the but there are thousands of them.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, not only did he create, or whoever created this block once, they replicated it thousands of times and then put them together.
Yeah. Before the Industrial Revolution, they scaled it.
It's fucking insane. And it's one of those, you're like, I think it's hard for us because we just can't assume, like, what, like, my dad builds houses. He's a carpenter and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, that blows my mind. Like, he just came to my house and he's like, hey, there's a problem here. And I was like, oh, really? I didn't even notice. And he's like, yeah, I can just fix that. And I was like, wow, really? Like, you don't have to do, like, Angie's List or anything? Like, you can just do stuff. Wow, that's pretty cool. You know, he's just that guy. Where he's like, yeah, I bought a bunch of wine barrels. I was like, why the fuck would you buy, like, 1,000?
Why not?
Yeah, he's like, they're old wine barrels. And I'm like, yeah, they don't have the wine. Why do you want them? They have no value. He's like, oh, no, I can make them into stuff. I was
yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, he's like an ancient alien to me, where I'm like, look at this fucking guy.
Yeah, it's like my buddy when they were building out the bar up in but like They have tables out back, and they're just big copper wire spindles or whatever. And like the dude that was the carpenter that built the deck, he was like, "Yeah, just get some of those, and I can make a table." I was like, "What?
Yeah. Like,
how do you know? Like, how do you know that?
Yeah. Who contacted you? What's their name? What race are they?" Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think it's hard for us because everything now is so easily gotten. Yeah. And even today, like when my dad is like doing his carpentry, like he has insane tools at his disposal.
Yeah.
To imagine guys just sitting there and like, all right, here's a fucking block the size of this room that we're in, and just ding, ding,
well,
ding, ding.
That and if they want,
insane.
If they want a hammer, they have to go and make the hammer too, because they can't just go to Ace Hardware and be like, I need a hammer to carve some rocks.
What hammer helps you make the hammer?
Right.
Where was the first hammer made? Right.
Ooh,
that's
like
what I mean.
That's a chicken
Who
and the
chiseled
egg.
the
right
first
there.
hammer?
Yeah.
What did they hit the first hammer with?
That's pretty fucking good.
It's crazy, right?
I like that. Yeah.
But this is the other one I'm on, though. This is why I think I like, that is a subject that I'm really into, is where, like, we take the, because I read this book, Sapiens, right? It's a fascinating book, and it's all about, there were all these humanoid species, right?
Right.
Neanderthal, whatever. How did we take the leap, right? And his theory is, like, it was all language, right? That's how we did it.
Right.
But he never really gets to, why did we get the language? So I love whenever there's these gaps of, like, what was the thing that caused the leap?
Yeah.
Right? And technology is a really interesting one because I've told you, like the H blocks and stuff like that, that to me is always the most convincing. Like, how the fuck, the pyramids, how did they do that?
Right.
The other thing that I've noticed lately, we've been on, is because I had the dream the other night, right? Where I was like lost and locked out, and I went for my phone like 3 times, couldn't pull it out of my pocket. Mm-hmm. I think there's something going on.
Yeah.
They live style where our phones are somehow in charge of this, and we're not allowed. When's the last time you slept less than 10 feet away from your phone, or more than 10 feet away from your phone?
Maybe never since I've had a phone.
Maybe never.
Yeah.
Right? Like
since I've owned a phone, yeah.
Right. Since I got my last, like I had that weird flip phone that flipped up and then also like the two-direction.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Since that.
With a full keyboard.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I used to love the keyboard. Yeah. Since then, I don't think since I got an iPhone, like a touch phone, I don't think I've ever had it not right by me.
I used to have those phones with the keyboard on it. And I remember when like touchscreens came out, and I was like, "That'll never work."
Yeah,
I was the guy. I was like, I knew, I was the technology leader. I was like, "That'll never work. Yeah. Nobody will switch from these full keyboards are too badass. Nobody will ever make that switch."
Yeah, for sure. That was like my dad and
that's why I'm not the head of Apple.
Yeah, no, I remember my dad like, "What kind of fool would pay $1 for a bottle of water?" And now you're just all of us, I guess. But no, it's insane to me that. Because this is think about it, guys. When's the last time in your dream you were on your cell phone? It's the thing we do all day, every day.
I read that same thing, and I spent nearly a day like thinking about that.
Yeah, why is it never in our dream? And I read somewhere people are like, "Oh, I've been on my phone in my dreams."
Yeah. Well,
I don't even know if I buy it. I think people assume we are. Start a dream journal, which I do, and it's pretty fun. Write down every time you use your phone. It doesn't exist to me.
Well, that's the thing. That was what blew my mind about it was. If you think about your everyday life, the thing that you see and use the most by a lot, is your phone.
Oh yeah,
it's the most dominant thing in almost everybody's life.
I mean, people are on it an average of 4 to 5 hours a day, easy. Yeah,
and yet that is never in your dreams.
Never.
It's crazy.
My car's in my dream.
Yeah.
If I eat at a certain restaurant, like I work with you, so you're in my dreams every now and then. My wife, my kids, my dog. If I buy a video game, I'll dream of. That's the other thing. That's a screen.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not a screen thing like LED screens. When Overwatch first came out, right? I play that video game Overwatch a lot. Yeah. I will, if I play like a really intense session and I'm mad that I lose or something, that night in my dream, almost inevitably, I'll replay some of the game in my brain.
Oh, for sure.
So that's a screen, right?
Yeah.
I dream about editing problems, right? Like we are always plagued by technology.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll dream about that, but never.
My favorite,
ever my phone.
My favorite dreams are like when I'm watching a movie, and I like half fall asleep. Yeah. So I start dreaming, but I'm hearing the dialogue from the movie. So I'm like dreaming this whole different scene, but with the dialogue from like Dumb and Dumber, in it. You know what I mean? So it's like this serious dream, and like Lloyd Christmas yelling.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite dreams. I love those.
You have that dream where your dick's falling off, and it's just that'll do, Ray. Like, awesome. I don't know. I'm telling you, that's the next big one that I want to crack and I want to read more on. There's no fucking way that our phone should not be in our dream.
Yeah.
Like omnipresent.
It's like reverse Inception almost.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because that's what I remember reading this thing, right, where they're explaining technologies, right? Like The knife is the extension of claws and teeth.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we all have these things that are extensions of our natural animal parts. The phone is the extension of our senses and our brain. So it should be omnipresent. It's not even an accessory as much as an augmentation of ourselves.
It is an extension of your, like,
Yeah.
at this point. Yeah.
Like, you don't have to remember inane facts like back in the 70s because I can just look it up right
Oh
now.
yeah. I mean,
And maybe that's part of it.
People see their phone more than they see their kids. Like, it's it's what it is.
Well, sometimes my kids go play with my wife. My phone never does that.
Yeah.
My phone's always...
Never.
And not because I have anything to hide. It's actually my favorite thing where my wife's like, hey, can I borrow your phone? I need to look up a coupon at a store. And then she's like, God damn it. And I'm like, oh, I didn't close my porn. She gets so mad when she sees... And also, I'm outing myself a bit. I have evolved past, like a true Anunnaki, I've evolved past, like, basic porn.
Yeah.
Like, if it's just, like, people kind of humping, it's
I'm
like...
well aware.
Yeah. I can't do
You
that.
can't just watch people, unless it's a celebrity.
Even then.
But you're not...
I think the
yeah.
last one I watched was Meg White or whatever from the White Stripes.
She has a sex tape?
Yeah, I was just like, I wonder what the rhythm's like.
I'm going to have to check that out.
I wonder if it's very basic and to the beat. Yeah. Mildly unimpressive, whatever, it's fine. But yeah, I was just like, until Lizzo's tape comes out, I'm not even into celebs. Like, but yeah, my wife was like very normal, respectable, maybe a bit conservative. And when it comes to that, she'll just see the shit I'm watching. And it's just like, you can just see the look on her face. Like, who are you?
So, one of my favorite conspiracies, getting back on track. You presented this to me, and we briefly talked about it on like one of the very first podcasts.
Yeah.
It's Helen Keller.
Yeah.
You put this in my head, and I'm 100% with it.
Yeah.
Helen Keller was not deaf or blind.
At least not both.
And maybe not even a real person.
She was a lizard.
Yeah. She's a snake oil salesman.
So the theory, it came to me when I was, because this is something I just picked up on myself, and it had been bothering me for a long time.
When you said it to me at Clip, I was like, that's true.
It drives me nuts, and like it still is something that bubbles up all the time, right? Because I remember as a kid, we watched the movie, and then we went and saw the play down in Indy.
Yeah.
It was a big deal, right? Well, it didn't dawn on me till much later. I was on my Goodread app, right? Like, obviously, I'd already had the theory by then, but this is the most recent I told you. On my Goodread app, right? It's how you keep track of what you're reading and rate stuff so they can give you recommendations. Right. A quote popped up, and it was like, in literature, I find the fantasy worlds that so elude me in life, blah, blah, blah. And it said, quote, Helen Keller. And I was like, what the fuck? How can you splash water on someone until they know the word literature?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like, when someone's blind...
It's true, though.
Yeah, when someone's blind and you can talk, right? There's a repetition of sound.
Right.
You can understand touch.
Yep.
When someone can't hear, there's visual cues.
Yeah.
That all makes sense. When you take those two senses out...
Yeah.
Like, how do you learn?
No way.
How do you fucking learn?
There's no way.
It fucking blows...
And especially...
And I know there are probably like really smart scientists...
Well, especially in an era with like no technology, too.
No technology.
Like, today would be maybe a little bit more believable just because there's so much... technology and different ways that you can stimulate people.
Right.
Back then it was just like there's no way
you
could teach her to speak.
How do you?
There's no way.
Well, no, because she used the word literature.
Yeah.
Right? How does she learn to even read Braille without one of the other senses?
Not a chance.
How do you not just be like, okay, what is that? Yeah. I mean, other than like, oh, Dad used to hit me, you're not doing that. That's a good sensory operation, right? Like,
well, it's like...
It's crazy to me.
Well, even if like she's deaf and blind, she can't hear or see, right? And you put a Braille in front of her, you take her hand,
right?
And you push it over like a certain series of bumps, and then you splash her with water. What you're trying to teach her is that means water.
Right.
What she's picking up on is I don't want to do that because I'm tired of getting splashed by water.
Right.
It's like the classical training of a dog or whatever. Like you ring the bell, they go to the food bowl. They know that means food. Like her only way of learning would be like every time I touch this, she splashes me with water, and I don't fucking like that.
Right. Well, that's
not gonna be like, oh yeah, water. Like
functional behaviors, right? Like, hey. Put the hand on this, right? Like, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's a bad, bad, right?
Right.
That makes sense. Dude, I just Googled it. There are speeches. Helen Keller just giving speeches.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. She knows the word literature. Mm-hmm. How the fuck can you possibly get there?
There's no way.
Maybe this whole conspiracy is just, I am so dumb that I am baffled that someone
You're not.
How do you, seriously, take the word literature, right? This is something I do with my kid all the time. It's a really fun exercise. because this is something Einstein said once, I believe, is if you can't explain a concept simply enough that a 5-year-old kind of gets the gist,
right,
you don't fully understand it, right? It's
right.
a simplistic communication, right?
Right.
When you master something, you can communicate it, right? Okay, define what literature is. Just, like you're a dictionary off the top of your head, right? Most people will be like, it's a book.
Writing.
It's a collection of
writings.
All right, now do that with water. Seriously. This isn't hot, cold, good, bad, ouch, not ouch, right? This is literature.
Right.
That's a big word.
Yeah.
Right? That has it's more of an abstract concept if you can't see a book.
The thing of it is, it's the classic tale of perseverance.
Right.
And overcoming, right? I get that.
Everyone, when you hear the Helen Keller story, you want to believe that.
And that story was made up much like, your Rumpelstiltskins and your shit like that. Mm-hmm. And it was told to people, and then somebody was like, "Oh yeah, I knew Helen. Yeah. That was real." Yeah. And they paraded her around this lady around the country, and they made money. Yeah. Much like the evangelical preachers and shit do now.
Traveling vaudeville acts.
Yeah. It's that's what it was.
Yeah.
They were just good at being. There was a good con.
And I hate being, because this is one of. I'm a good liberal man, right? Like all my friends are liberals, right? I try not. My whole theory in life is just don't fucking make anyone else's life worse, right? Don't make someone else's life harder. Just be nice to each other.
Yeah, don't be a dick. I get it.
This one always puts me on that where people, when I say it to them, they're like, you monster.
No.
And it's like, of course I want that to be. Every day I wake up, I follow one whole Twitter account that is just kids who can see or hear for the first time, seeing or hearing their mother.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, you're like, I want to cry in my coffee every morning. That's like a good, healthy way to start the system, moving about. I'm telling you guys, look up her speeches. How does she learn?
Yeah.
To form the words and what they mean. How does she know literature? How did she ever read a book? How can you learn Braille without another source? It's not true.
She wrote a book.
She wrote a book.
Yeah, she wrote a book.
Well, she wrote a book the way President Trump wrote a book. You know what I mean? She was in the room. She was perhaps some of the material.
She's credited as the author of a book.
But that's what I mean. I think what actually happened is I think Helen Keller was blind. I don't think she was deaf.
I don't think she was either.
This is your Stevie Wonder theory, correct?
I don't think she was either.
I think
it was a traveling show.
Yeah.
That was just a couple of frauds making money and conning. Yeah.
I mean, that's the real miracle that was worked, is that people think that Helen Keller used the word literature.
There's just no, a blind and deaf person.
Right.
In the 1800s. Yeah. There's no fucking way that she learned how to read and talk. There's no way she learned how to talk.
Right. Well,
fucking way.
This is a lot of conspiracy
There's
mindset.
no fucking way that she would ever know what those words sounded like enough to be able to project. There's no fucking way.
Well, because I'm sure people will
say impossible.
You can touch the throat, right, and learn. Okay, literature, dingle dongle.
Right.
The amount of sensitivity you would have to have. Even if she was a genius, right? Let's say Helen Keller was the smartest person that ever lived, but happened to be blind and deaf.
Right.
It still feels impossible. Maybe, this seems to be the theory, right? As we look backwards and we're like, how did people ever do anything? Right? But I'm telling you, the Helen Keller one, and it's something that no one else is on.
I know.
I'm always the one who says it, and people look at me like, you fucking creep.
I know.
It doesn't
It spoke
add
to me
up.
when you said
look
it.
Look at her quotes. Look at her speeches.
There's no way.
How did literally a girl who was perhaps just sitting in a crib till she was 5?
Yeah.
This is something else that trips me out about it. I remember when I was having my kids, someone told me, and this is one of those things you hear, I have no idea if this is true or not, but it kind of makes sense, right? That a child knows and is kind of mentally formed 85% of everything they'll know and use in their life by the time they're 3.
Okay.
It sounds crazy. You're like, no, 3-year-olds are stupid. Well, okay, their lungs are learning to work.
Right.
Their body's doing all these things that we just take for
Functions,
granted, right? Yeah. Nonverbal communications, right? Things, they're learning a lot that we just take for granted, right? That's the bulk. That's the iceberg beneath the sea, right? Of what our brains do, right? Knowing, that Frasier's the greatest show ever, that's like the vanity stuff, right?
Right.
But,
fuck you.
Yeah. Helen Keller, I don't think she met the miracle worker until she was 5 to 7 years old.
So, Anne Rice or whatever her name was?
Yeah. No, Anne Rice wrote the fucking vampire books. Interview with the Vampire.
Anne something.
Anne Sullivan.
Anne Sullivan, yeah.
Right. So, she had already had all those fucking years without any kind of advancement or... even if she's a genius, she's learning all of this by herself in the dark with no fucking input or ability to have help, right?
Yeah.
Her parents aren't trained to fucking do this kind of work. And then she meets a lady between 5 and 7 and gets to, literature is the flight of fancy that takes me where I can't be in my darkened world. It's just, I think she was blind and nothing else.
No way.
Yeah, it's crazy. And no one talks about it because you don't want to be the guy.
You don't want to deaf shame or blind
right.
shame.
Well, I remember one of our
cancel culture.
Yeah, it's like, I can't remember who, it might have even been you, but someone told me that for a Colts fan, I can't remember who, but they're like, Chuck Pagano faked his cancer because he knew he was a bad coach. Like, you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be like,
I can't get behind that one.
That's stupid. But
he was a bad coach, but yeah.
That part's not a conspiracy. That's obvious. But you don't want to ever be the guy that's like, look at this miracle of achievement, right? Against all odds that is not true.
Yeah.
It's a bad place to be, but that's where I always find myself. No one has ever been able to square that circle for me.
Not buying it.
It doesn't add up.
No, it
doesn't add up. And I just hope that Helen Keller fans don't just fucking ferociously eat me alive.
What if we have a lot of Helen Keller fans? Is there a lot of Helen Keller fans just in general?
There's some guy who just like once a minute splashes water
on
his face.
I would love it if somehow this podcast got out and like we pissed off this faction of like I
don't want to piss off the Helen Keller people.
No, I just want to see what they say when they come out. Like,
if they
my grandma knew her.
I read the book. I've researched this every now and again when I'm bored, and I can't. If they could teach me and take this enormous burden off my shoulders, that would be great. I don't see how it's possible.
Yeah.
I don't
either.
Guys, what are your favorite conspiracies? And
Let
do
us
you agree
know.
with us on Helen Keller?
Yeah, do some research on that Helen Keller. You're gonna be as shocked at what you find. It's a bunch of crap. Hey guys, this was a lot of fun doing the Conspiracy Pod. Thanks for coming. Follow us on Twitter, all the stuff at Coach Kent Murphy.
Yeah, Apple Podcast app. Leave us a rating and review. Write the sentence or two. That helps us out a ton.
CoachKentMurphy.com. All your merchandise needs. Hey, thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.